props you'll need today are just something that you can hold in your hands. I have like a 10-pound medicine ball. I like holding something a little bit heavier because it helps you kind of brace your core. But if you just have like a big book or something you can grab and hold in your hand, that works. And then also you'll need a pillow for your knees if you have sensitive knees. So what we're gonna do today is just a small little flow. We're gonna keep everything moving and just loosen up some joints, do something that feels good. The most important thing about today's class is we're gonna talk about irradiation. Irradiation is the concept of kind of just bracing all the muscles on your body. So when we do things like big deadlifts or big squats, it requires so much effort to lift those heavy weights that we have to engage all these different motor neurons in our body. We use the motor neurons from our feet and from our legs and from our butt and from our hips and our core, and everything is firing, right? So what we're doing in mobility is we want to try and fire all those same motor neurons, but just without the weight. So we're trying to recruit all the different parts of our body to help in this mobility work. So that is why we use this concept of irradiation. We want to try and flex everything so that all parts of our body are involved in this movement. So while you're doing this movement, I want you to think about keeping the core nice and tight, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the legs, squeezing the feet, engaging the feet. So no just like floppy feet. You want to have everything nice and engaged. Shoulders, back, neck. I don't want you clenching your jaw, but just think about keeping your head and neck nice and steady on top of your body, okay? So let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is just come into a wide straddle position. This is a little bit hard to see on Instagram, but we're gonna come into a wide straddle position here. Engage those feet, engage the core, engage the back. We're gonna turn to one leg, and we're just gonna rotate through the hip internally and then externally. And we're just gonna do that like 10 to 12 times in each direction. This is just to get that hip working, turn it on, get some access to that hip rotation. Try and stay nice and upright. That's why I have my fingers on the ground, because I'm trying to keep my chest up. And we're rotating in and out. Try and keep your ankle and knee in line so that all that movement is just coming through the hip. And you can push a little bit in each direction if you want. And we're still facing this leg. Good, and then we're going to rotate to face the other leg. And you notice I don't have a very wide straddle here, so I'm just focusing on the rotation. So you really don't have to be flexible already to get stuff out of your mobility work. Good, internally rotate. Remember last week I drew a line on my shin to kind of show you a guide for what you want to be rotating? This is the same thing. You want to imagine a straight line up to the hip. Everything moves as one unit. It rotates out, it rotates in. You don't want to have a lot of like ankle and knee differences. You want to lock the ankle and knee in together. Ooh, did you hear that pop? It was so loud. Okay, and we're going to move right into our first flow. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get into a tight 90-90. So if we were in a full 90-90, you'd want 90-degree angles on both sides. We're going to kind of curl ourselves in a little bit. We're going to start from this position. We want to stay nice and upright, and now we're going to start to irradiate. So imagine you're trying to pull into the core, brace the core like someone's about to punch you in the stomach. Brace for that hit. Irradiate through the back, irradiate through the legs, engage the feet. Okay, so now we're nice and active. Oh, grab your prop. This is another good way to irradiate. You want to squeeze into this ball or into your book. So you want to really try and center all your tension right there in whatever object you have here. And we're going to flow, and this is going to be a lot easier if you have socks on a wood floor. This is going to be a challenge for me because my feet stick to this surface. We are going to push our way out into a center straddle. We're going to fold forward, hinging at the hips so we're not rounding forward. We're folding only as much as we can. Come back up, and then we're going to slide back into a 90-90 on the other side. So that's just what we're going to do. We're going to move from one position to another. Let's say like 5 times to each side. Keep pressing into that object and keep irradiating through the core. Try not to alter your upper body position. Fold forward and back to the middle. Good. Every time you come back to this position, I want you to squeeze harder on the ball or book. Good. Really try and push those legs out at the same time. Imagine that uncurling is kind of forcing your way out into this straddle. Ugh. Your arms should be nice and lit up at this point, your upper back, your core, your quads, your hips. Everything should be feeling pretty warm at this point. If you're irradiating as much as you can. Ugh. Ugh. I'm going to do one more to each side. So here, squeeze that ball, irradiate, keep pushing through your heels. Brace that core, brace the upper back. Ugh. Good, okay. Relax for a moment. Shake out those arms, release the tension from our legs. You can shake your arms out. If you're holding something heavier, the heavier it is, the more you have to brace your core just inherently. Those legs are feeling a little tight. You can give them a little side to side windshield wiper here. If you're sick of 90-90s already, I have some bad news for you. We're gonna do some more 90-90 stuff. So you're gonna still hang on to that object that you have. I'm gonna keep calling it a ball because I don't know what you guys are holding onto. But we're gonna find our 90-90 again. This time we're gonna widen it a little bit more. So we're gonna try and get 2 90-degree angles here. And then we're going to straighten out this front leg. So find a comfortable position here. If this feels really, really uncomfortable, you can sit back into your hands a tiny bit more, but see if you can come upright and just hold yourself here. We're gonna grab that ball and we're gonna make, I think, 4 movements. We're going to fold over that front leg as much as we can, come up, twist to the back leg, fold over the front leg. Is not going to be very much because we're not rounding our back. We're trying to bring our chest forward, and then we're going to twist back forward, and then we're going to externally rotate, lift this knee up as high as we can without altering the top half of our body. Lift up, bring it back down. Good. We're going to do 5 more of these. Fold forward, come up, twist, fold forward, come up, twist, and open up that back knee. Come back down. Whew. This should be lighting up this hip right here. If things start to cramp up, slowly back out of it. You can always like dig a fist into your hip here and try and loosen some things up right there. Or you can bring this leg in a tiny bit more. All right, 4 more at your own pace. Fold, twist, fold, twist, and lift. Squeeze that ball, irradiate through the core, squeeze the back. Squeeze that core. Keep this foot engaged, that front foot. Don't let it get floppy. All right, we're going to transition by bringing this front leg in and switching sides. I'm going to adjust a little bit, but if you're comfy where you are, just flip over. Make sure you've got that good 90-90, and then we're going to extend that front leg. This side might feel a little bit different, and just kind of see where you're at in terms of this side. It might be a little bit different, so allow your body to adjust. All right, on this side, irradiate through the back, irradiate through the core, squeeze those feet, keep them engaged. We're gonna fold forward. Oh, that feels different. We're gonna twist to the back leg, fold forward, twist, and lift. See how far you can get this up without altering your upper body position. Fold, twist. Keep squeezing your item, fold, twist, lift. One more. If you're going slower than me, good job. That's awesome. The slower you go, the better. Woo! Good. Relax. Shake out those legs a little bit. Oh, if that back hip, that trail leg that was bent is feeling a little tight, good. You did it right. Go ahead and windshield wiper those knees a few times. Oh boy. Back and forth, get some of those cracks out. Shake out the arms. And you can put your ball or book or whatever you've got aside for a second. We're gonna get into our next position. And I think my head is gonna disappear, but you don't need that. So what we're gonna do is grab your pillow. If you need a pillow for your back knee, I have this nice spongy floor, so I'm not gonna use one. But you just want it on your back leg right here, on your back knee. What we're gonna do is find this half kneeling position. I want you to find a good half kneeling position where you're not too far forward and you're not too far back. Again, you wanna have two 90-degree angles with your legs, and we're gonna work on a couple pelvic tilts here. So we're just tilting our hips forward and back. Just like if you imagine that your hips are a bucket, you want to spill the water out and then spill the water out the back. Spill the water out the front, spill the water out the back. I know this is kind of a weird little hip thrusty movement, but it's good to be able to kind of isolate your hips here. And then we want to finish by tucking the hips under and squeezing our glutes so that we feel a big stretch right here. From there, you can grab your item, or if you need a little bit of balance help, you can put a hand on a chair or a wall. And we're gonna work on pushing ourselves forward. As we do that, the back heel comes off the ground and we squeeze it towards our butt. So we're getting a squeeze between our heel and our butt and a squeeze between our hip flexor and the ground. Keep that core nice and tight. Squeeze the item you have in your hands and then sit back. As you sit back, you're going to drive your hips backwards. Stretch out the hamstring on this leg. Ugh. So that's the movement. We're going to come forward and back. And we're just going to try and do that 5 times on each side. If holding an item here is too much, you can keep your hands up or you can just clasp your hands together right here. So let's try that. Come forward, squeeze the heel to your butt. Big stretch in the hip flexor. Forward, and then sit back, driving the hips backwards. Good. If you need to adjust the feet, walk it out, do whatever you need to, and then continue. Keep squeezing that core, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the back. Everything is active, everything is engaged. Toes all the way up to the shoulders. Might feel a little bit of cramping in the hamstring, in the back of the leg. That's okay. You can always back out of that slowly. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Watch the low back, don't let it arch. One more. Squeeze, 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 and sit back. Awesome job, good. Whew, those are making me really sweaty. Let's try the other side. So, take what you learned from that side, apply it to this side, get comfy in this position. Maybe you need to go a little wider than you were before. And we're gonna get a couple pelvic tilts just to find that good glute squeeze and feel what it's like to tuck the hips under. This is a really important movement to learn. Good. Finish those pelvic tilts, tuck the glutes under, squeeze the glutes really, really tight. Squeeze the core, squeeze the back. And we're going to sink forward, lifting the heel to your butt. You want a good straight line between the knee that's on the ground, your hips, all the way up to your shoulders. And then sit back, drive those hips backwards. This is not about bringing your chest forward, it's about driving your hips back. You're going to get a good stretch here in pretty much all these positions, but you're also working for this stretch. You're not just sitting into the stretch, you're firing all the muscles in your body. It should be hard to hold a conversation right now. Let's try 2 more. Whoop. Watch your balance. Squeeze the heel to your butt. Woo. Last one. Keep squeezing those hands together. Squeeze your object. Keep your core nice and tight. Keep your glutes nice and tight. Yo. Ooh. Good. Woo. Come down to a seated position, and again, we're gonna windshield wiper those legs back and forth. Awesome job. Those are just 3 good little lower body flows that are gonna make a big difference. You could do these for a lot longer if you wanted to make this like a 40-minute class or a 60-minute class. What I would say is do all of this a second time or a third time, and you've got a full good mobility workout for you. Awesome. Let me know if you have any questions, and if not, I will see you next week. Bye, everybody.